everybody, and welcome to another episode of Public Opinion with your host, Pam and Vanetta. Hey, Vanetta.
Hi.
I missed you. I had to have that old guest host, my son, in your place.
All that testosterone.
Okay. It seemed like it's been forever since the last time we were on the show. The last time we were on, it was a tea time, and we were talking about the whole Oscars thing, but we'll talk about that a little bit later too. But you look nice. You see, we have on our shirts today. It's all fine with a glass of wine. And we have our wine today because we are drinking to the end of season 5. We have come to the
Winding
end.
It up.
I like that. Let's wind up season 5 with a glass of wine. So we have our wine. And so we are drinking to the end of another season. And it's just been a blessing. I've been enjoying this whole process of just being able to talk to people, giving people a platform to give their opinions, and for us to talk about what everybody's talking about. So today, what we are going to be doing is a recap of season 5. And I wanted to do this, and I like to do these recaps because I believe it gives new viewers the opportunity to see the type of topics that we talk about, and just to see how the format goes, because on our shows, what we do is we have a regular season where we have full episodes that are about 30 minutes. And then we have what are called tea times. And tea times are when Vanetta and I just talk about what everybody's talking about in the news. And those are generally about 6 to 10 minutes. So today we're going to be doing a recap of season 5. And we had some pretty good topics this season, and we had a lot of really good guests. So we're going to get started and look back at season 5. We started the season talking about historically Black colleges and universities versus predominantly white institutions. And so we had some really good guests. We had young people who had been in college. We even had your husband was on, and he was talking about his experiences and his thoughts about that. And so let's look at what they talked about.
Even though I wouldn't want to say that it would be better to go to a predominantly white school or better to go to an HBCU, I would just say going to a predominantly white school allowed myself to at least understand the navigation of white America and what I would have to at least deal with once I would get out of college.
And I wanted to go to an institution where I felt like I would be celebrated. And I got that at Spelman. So being around Black girls from all different walks of life, and, walking into that space.
One of the biggest takeaways are 3 words: need, love, and want. At Central State or historically Black universities, they need us.
So going to a PWI was culture shock, but I had all the tools and confidence that I needed to be successful, because I did grow up in a predominantly Black neighborhood where, all those opportunities to build social capital were available to me.
All right. So what did you think about that episode, Vanetta?
I dare not say it, but it may have been my favorite. Okay, because that's a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. And I was looking at myself as I'm nodding. I think it's a conversation that needs to be had over and over and over. And I do believe it should be far beyond the Black community, because there's so many people who are not of color who have no idea when we say HBCU, what we're talking about. I think it's just got to become part of the college dialogue.
Yeah, I like the discussion about it. Kind of really depended upon the need that you had. Like some people, if they grew up in a predominantly, integrated neighborhood or white, then some people actually seek out to go to a predominantly Black school, or vice versa. They might feel like, well, I've been going to school, integrated, so I'm going to continue to do this. So,
people have strong feelings. I feel as a person of color, there's always something a person of color can gain from being in an environment that looks like them, because there's so many other things that's going to happen outside of that bubble.
Right.
And it can prepare you. As I said in the show, there's a difference in my 3 children, the 2 who went to predominantly white colleges and HBCUs. I can see a different confidence level.
Yeah, absolutely. And so now the next show that we had was about patronizing Black businesses and the Black Business Expo that happened in Cleveland. That was just such a big deal. Everybody was so excited about that.
It was.
We talked about the importance of patronizing Black businesses. And so let's take just a little soundbite. We had one guest, and that was Larice Purnell. And let's see what he had to say.
Outside of your salon or barber and a restaurant, can you name 10 businesses that are Black owned that you frequent on a regular basis?
And see, this is why it's so important. And I'm so glad you said that, because that's going to bring us around to this Real Black Friday. And I am excited to know about all of these businesses, because I want to make it my point to try to go to as many businesses, feature them on the show, do segments, because that's important. It's important to be able to use whatever platform you have to let people know. So Larice, you want to tell us about that?
Yes. So on Saturday, February 19th and Sunday, February 20th, we will be hosting the Real Black Friday. And the premise of the Real Black Friday was started 7 years ago this year to help to bring awareness and to create educational and networking opportunities for Black-owned businesses.
Right. So what did you think about that show?
That was a great show as well. And I was glad we had that conversation, because I made it a huge point to go down there since I was out of town, and I jetted back to go on Sunday, and it was a wonderful experience.
Yeah, I thought, I didn't get a chance to go down there and see it, but I talked to so many people, and they were just so excited. It was just like, they said it was just like energy, it was it was almost as if Tower City had come alive again.
Yeah,
and
it truly had.
Yeah,
and
it truly
was
had.
Bursting with pride. It was a pride that was just felt throughout the building.
And I have a little footage of that. Let's look at that. And when I posted that, I said the dead has come back to life, because
I'm telling you,
Tower City was basically dead. When
we were down there in June, I could not believe it. It actually hurt me to see how just desolate the place looked.
Yeah. And so I think that just brought just so much revitalization to that particular area. And then let's see, what did we have next? Oh, we talked about cryptocurrency. That was something that you and I really were not familiar with at all.
I'm still not familiar.
Okay. Right. I think that's something, if you, I don't know.
I have to take more than, I need some real in-depth teaching on that.
Yeah. Yeah. But let's look at what our guest had to say about that.
Just been so secure putting our money in the bank.
Yeah.
And so when you're talking about just, over a period of time, that even if your money went up 10%, 20%, 30%, and sometimes with these cryptocurrencies, they can go up 1,000%. And that your, the risk of putting it in the bank and your money being devalued is actually worse, right? Where if you're having it in one of these safe coins, that more than likely that your money is going to go up, in value over, say, a 5 period time.
I've been a long-term investor for the last 35 years. And so, I've watched my money grow in the traditional stock market. But as I start reading crypto and just seeing the high risk to high reward with very little investment, if you will. I'll give you an example. Dogecoin, I think at the beginning of the year, I had a friend who invested $1,000, and he ended up being a millionaire from it. So within a year.
I feel like I can only put money in there that I'm willing to lose, because I don't know enough about it. Just like, how they say any investment, you've got to be able to afford to lose.
Well, they say all investments are at a risk. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, you know how when you loan money to that friend, she ain't gonna pay it back. So you just consider it a gift, but you don't tell her it's a gift.
Right. Yep. And that's the way you have to kind of look at that. That's true. But I do believe that about when you loan people money, you have to loan people money with the expectation that you may not get it back. But this whole crypto currency thing, that is pretty much going to be, I believe, the wave of the future, you know, whereas at one point in time, it was looked upon as a fad, I think almost, but I really think this is something that's going to stick, you know, for a while.
I think it is too, but I thought it was more young and trendy, but
Right.
I was wrong. And I'm going to have to get on board or be left behind.
Well, that's what a lot of things, you know, I think that have come out where it started out more like a, you know, a fad type of thing, but then that people realize, you know what, you better get on the boat or you're gonna drown.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll see about that. And so the next thing the next show, I really enjoyed this next show, and that was the dating after divorce. I'm telling you, so many people enjoyed that segment. We got some of the most views that we have ever gotten from that. I had one person tell me, I really liked it because I felt like they really were kind of like bearing their souls and, you know, to the, I was like, okay. But you know what, there are a lot of people who did divorce, especially during the pandemic. And even though they said the reason they divorced didn't have anything to do with the pandemic, I do believe that the pandemic has made people look at their lives in a different way.
For sure. And by the same token, on the flip side of it, I have more weddings this year than I've had in maybe the last 10, 15 years. People just decided to get married. I've got 5 weddings this year.
That's interesting. Well, you know what? I'm going to a wedding in a couple of weeks, and I've been hearing about different people. So you're right. Either people got married, or they you know, got divorced, or they just got closer. You know, I think you know, I think my husband and I, our relationship, we got a lot close because we started having like Friday night fish fries, and we would turn the kitchen into a club. So it was fun. So let's look at this dating after divorce.
Honestly, the first one is, are you funny? Honestly, are you funny? Like, I need somebody that can spar, we can roll, we can have some fun. Are you spiritual? Do you have a spiritual sense and a grounding about you? And honestly, the third one is, are you a great father? That's what matters to me. Those 3 things are really the things that I look for the most. Because the rest of it, if we can have fun and we have a spiritual grounding, and I can see that you're a phenomenal father and how you are with your children, I am, let's keep going. Let's keep talking. So
it's not all about the physical attributes of a woman. I think it's more so about me. Is she spiritually anchored, as Felicia was saying? Does she have a sense of humor? Is she a person who is like patient? And how do we settle differences while embracing each other's otherness? You know, because we have to have a life of our own. And I don't need someone who wants to occupy all my time because I don't want to occupy all their time. They need a life outside of us, and we have to be comfortable and have a serious trust factor. And also we have to learn how to protect our soil. And those are my expectations of whatever woman the Lord brings to me, because if she's not going to put her 10 toes to the ground and fight with me, see ya.
Okay, so what do you think about that?
He's deep.
You know, I like some of the things though that he said. He said you have to protect your soil. Yeah. And I really like that because I had never really heard that expression.
I had not either.
You have to protect your soil. And what do you say? You have to have 10 toes to the ground. So I guess you got to be grounded. You know, you got to be grounded.
I know, but I got to come really ready for him. You know what I'm saying? I just can't come in there a little more casual. It's got to be.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You got to kind of not be drinking too much if you want to really have a meaningful conversation, because he's deep. You know what I mean? It depends on how deep you want to jump in with that.
Yeah, I'll be lost. I'll be like, huh?
You mean my 10 toes? What do you ask? Do I have 10 toes?
Wait a minute. I'm not gardening. I don't know what he do about soil. You know, I mean, he would have lost me and just got up and left from the restaurant. I'd be like, another drink, please.
Oh, no, but no, but I really enjoyed that conversation that they had. And like I said, a lot of people enjoyed it as well.
That's nice.
Yes. And then now the show that you unfortunately were not able to be on My son Brian filled in for you, and he did a very good job
Yes,
as
I
a
saw it.
co-host. Did you? He did a very good job. You know, he's a lot better at really getting to the point of what he wants to say. I have a whole lot more things, you know.
He's not as colorful. He's very direct.
Yeah, yeah. But the next show is about the Great Resignation, and everybody's been talking about that because this has been something that's been occurring throughout all kinds of companies, and a lot of people had just come to the decision, like we talked about with marriage and divorce. People have come to the decision of, you know what, I don't need this job, or it's not worth it, or I think I want to go a different direction. Or some companies have realized that they can do hybrid, you know, you can do some working at home and then go into the office. So we talked about the Great Resignation. So look at that.
Few years ago, when they were talking about the $15 an hour wage, and everyone said it is impossible. We cannot pay people $15 an hour. And now I love how I'll drive past Applebee's and they have like $2,000 sign-on bonuses for a server.
Right.
It's like, so, you know, there's been a shift. And I think it's been a shift that now the employers are realizing that they got to put people first.
There's some work that needs to be done that can help organizations with this challenge, I'll call it, because things are not going to go back the way they were. That's just not going to happen. So we have to find that happy medium, and there's some systems and processes that need to be put in place.
So yeah, like I said, I enjoyed that conversation. And like Brian was saying, what he said is like a great reflection. Instead of the Great Resignation, he thinks it's the Great Reflection, because people are reflecting more on, you know, their lives. They're thinking about, you know, how do I want to proceed now? And I think really the pandemic has just caused people to kind of just look at life as short. So many people died. So many people went through so much that it had to make you stop and say, you know, let me re-examine my life. Let me look at how I want to proceed. Do I really want to stay at this job? What is this job offering me? You know?
Right. And what is rich? I think what is rich in every lifestyle is different. What fulfills me is not the same as what fulfills you. And I need to have that in my life. I need to feel purpose, and dollars don't always bring purpose.
Right. They don't always bring. And then sometimes you have to look at how much time am I taking away from my family, and can I be able to balance work and life better? You know, a lot of people have discovered they are able to work from home. They're there when their children go to school. They can put them on the school bus. They can still work. And then they're there when the children come home, and they can help them with their, you know, their homework. So, and then you cut down a lot on daycare, you know, having to have somebody maybe after school watching your kids or something like that. So it's a
It has
reflection.
its advantages. And I think it would make me, if I had young children, I would probably work extremely hard in those hours they were gone, so that when they came home, I could be mom and, you know, devote time again. Because just honestly, an 8-hour workday, you're not working all 8 of those hours.
Yeah.
You're just not.
You're not. A lot of it is you're talking to some of your coworkers. You may be going out to lunch. You just got a lot of downtime.
You walk into the bathroom.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's just, it's a lot of, and I realize I am extremely productive at home, and it's amazing to me. I get so much done in probably 6 hours, way more than I did in, I would say, a 2-day workday. Some days I can bang out a lot. Now, but there are also other days that I feel like I gotta get off the computer. I'm gonna just take a break. Now I couldn't do that.
And then you got to factor in like commute time. Like with me, like if I just worked at home, I wouldn't have to get up, get ready for work, drive to work, you know, and all of that takes time. I could be doing some work, but you know. Now, we also have what's called our tea times. Like I said, when just Vanetta and I are talking, and that's only like very short segments, about 6 to 10 minutes. And we had a bunch of tea times this season, but we'll just look at some of the ones that we had. And the first one, we also do our little movie reviews. So the first one we did was about the movie Single Black Female. Do you remember that movie?
Oh, that was the first one.
We thought it was
I thought she was playing herself.
We
You know,
thought
I'm like, oh.
Amber Riley, isn't her name? We thought she was playing the same role.
Only thing was one was a bit larger. That was it. It was very hard to distinguish who was who. I did not, that part of it was too much.
Right.
And I guess that is what drew you back to they are sisters, but they're not doggone twins.
No, they are not twins.
But
what were your thoughts about the halftime show?
I enjoyed it. I really, really did. And I only watched it for the show, but I was rooting for Cincinnati. I'll take that back. It was exciting. I mean, I thought Mary J. Blige gave her everything she had. Okay. Snoop Dogg, I was enjoying him. Dr. Dre. I mean, I enjoyed I everything about it. And I like Mary.
Yeah, I liked everything. It was just a great show. I really enjoyed it. And so then, we also had a tea time where we talked about the Olympic controversy with the athlete who had the doping or whatever, and she said from her grandfather. She had drank something that her grandfather
drank out of a cup that her grandfather had. Yeah, I believe
right.
that not.
Right. And everybody was saying, well, you know what, the Sha'Carri Richardson, she wasn't allowed to, to still compete, but they allowed her, and it was just a mess. And then she went on to do terribly in the Olympics.
And I do think that was nothing but stress.
It had to be stress.
And if she had won, she would have been booed and felt uncomfortable. So it was best to just go up there and just do whatever you felt like doing.
It was. And then we also had a tea time where we talked about the war in Ukraine, and it's just gotten worse.
I did think this was going to be over. I really hoped it would be over quickly. And it's very, very sad. I mean, these mass graves and this dictator, I didn't think I'd see it in my lifetime. It hurts so much.
It's terrible. I still don't quite understand the whole reasoning, other than Putin just wants to have Ukraine back. And that's the only thing that I can.
He thinks he's making himself a legend,
a legacy or whatever it's.
Yeah. I mean, but he sees himself as far greater than he is as a man. And he wants a historical view to be like, he was the one who brought Ukraine back and he united the Soviet Union again. And it's sick and twisted.
Yeah, it's very, very sad. And then we also talked about daylight savings time and whether or not people, whether or not they should keep it. And you were
very cruel. You didn't care about the little kids.
I did care about the children. I said maybe they could make the day start later, school start later. I did care about that. I do enjoy having this extra light. I do not like getting off of work and it being dark outside. And I feel like I just missed the whole day. So I do like being able to come home and have a little bit of sunlight. But now I don't know if they're going to actually do that. I don't know.
They're going to do it. I think it's a lot of people. Bear this in mind. The people who make the decisions are adults. So they're not taking care of those little children. That ain't the focus of their argument. And when you live in the Midwest like this, we are so sun deprived that I think that they're going to do that because of the weather and the things. I think we're going to see it happen in 2024.
Yeah. And then we talked about Jussie Smollett. And his sentencing, and then
I have a very big disagreement on that.
Right, because I said I don't think he should have ever been sentenced to jail. I think he should have been made to pay restitution. You said he thought
about this lady now who had the manhunt for her, and she was laying up with her boyfriend.
Oh, she needs to go to jail. Oh no, she most definitely needs to go to jail.
Why?
What? Because she caused even way more money. She accused these Spanish women of
they weren't no real people. He accused those poor mega people. Haven't they been put through enough?
Yeah, they have. I think that I just think she should go to jail. I'm sorry. She needs to go
She
to
should be
jail.
in the cell next to Jesse Smollett.
Yeah, or they should have just do their restitution together, something. They should be together.
No, she should be in jail. That police chief said, why do I think she's sad now? She said, he said for the last 2 years, she hasn't been apologetic.
I mean, she is really off the ringer there. But and then after that, we talked about the Oscars. And Lord, what they say, the slap that was heard around the world. And that's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother show that we really need to do, because I want to do a show about this beyond the slap, the psychology behind it. Like, why was it so polarizing? People took sides. It was Team Jada, Team Will, Team Chris. Alopecia even had a team. Seriously, some people with Team Alopecia, like, yes, they don't understand what people are going through who have alopecia. And, but I'm like, oh my God, why was this so polarizing? Everybody had an opinion. You're talking about public opinion. Everybody.
Well, it was easy because, you see starlets and people, they're the other people, they don't have these kind of behaviors, or at least we think they shouldn't. So this is something everybody was like, ooh, you were like a voyeurist. Right. You got to see into his crazy head, because there's something going wrong up in there.
Okay. Something definitely. Oh, and finally, and what we weren't able to do a follow-up on, but what we also had a tea time about was Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, and she has been confirmed. She is now a Supreme Court justice. And so we also are going to be having a toast to her, because we are so proud of her. And, I'm just so proud of her. I really
drink to that.
I drink to that as well. And so we have come to the end of our recap show. We certainly hope that you will continue to watch us. Tell other people about us. If you are new, continue to look at us on Facebook and on Instagram and YouTube, and you can listen to us. So if you can't watch the show, listen on the go to our podcast. So thank you once again.
Wait. I want to thank my mother for these lovely shirts that we have on.
That's right. Her mother gave us these shirts. Aren't they lovely?
She encourages us to drink wine.
Because it's all fine with a glass of wine. All right. So we will see you next time for another episode of Public Opinion. Bye-bye.